it's one of the few times by NCAA rules you can do some things for these guys. So we came over early and had them on a plane. It's fun to be away from the game and experience a day that you can't really always do as a coach.
You get to have that extra exposure. What does that mean for you to have the SEC network following you?
You know, I knew something was coming because I saw Kirby playing golf. I saw Nick at the lake home, and I knew I didn't get either one of those invites, so I figured mine was coming. I know Pat had come at me. I just was limited on days just because of our situation. I couldn't commit to anything. And then when they threw this at me to kick off the SEC media days and to be with them start to finish, I thought that was probably a pretty good opportunity.
How much sleep have you gotten?
Not much. You know, we went in early Friday morning and was hoping to deliver it on Friday because we thought it'd be cool to be 7/7/17. And then midnight came and went, and we still weren't there. And it was still 4:40. She was in labor about 26 hours. So so it was a long one.
How about fifth year? Do you feel you're good every year? But
Yeah.
Do you feel more comfortable this year?
Well, I feel comfortable for two reasons. First, I think every player in this program, I've been a part of recruiting them, so I know their story. I know their background. I know their history. I usually know the people that have been involved with them. And that is worth a lot, man. You're in critical moments, and you can reflect on something. You can tell a story. You can call on a person to help you. Yeah, you know what their capabilities are more so than more than their incapabilities. You know what they can push themselves through. So and plus I think our roster is stronger than it's ever been. You know, I think especially switching to 3-4 and allowing us to have just 3 D linemen on the field with more linebackers and DBs helps us.
You've called yourself an emotional guy, and I think you probably are. What was that moment like on Saturday morning?
Oh, it was pretty. There was a moment there I was worried about. Number one, Jen was for whatever reason I was really freaked out about her or for her safety. Everybody, I knew the baby was going to be okay, but I was really concerned about my wife. And then she came in at 7 pounds 8 ounces. I think at 7 pounds 10 we weren't going to be able to do it. And she'd been in it for so long, and she didn't take any medications to relieve the pain. So I got pretty emotional. Had to walk away, and I didn't want to let her see me. So it was a tough moment. Dr. Partridge was awesome. She was there at the Washington Regional, and was the whole crew there was absolutely amazing. And it kind of went through. The most emotional I've been, though, I told the story a couple times earlier, was when we were leaving Sunday. My wife, who's famous for driving across town to save 20 cents on broccoli. She is pretty tight with money, but she bought this car seat that it looks like it's from Back to the Future. You put it in her back seat, and she latches in, and it checks you and tells you, yes, you're good to go. And to see my child sitting in the back seat, rear view mirror on the right side, and Jen was behind me on the left, and I was in charge of him was really kind of surreal.
I know we're all fathers. Sorry to keep going on this, but when
That's
you
right.
hold the baby for the first time, it's got to be pretty.
It was pretty cool. She reacted pretty good. I don't know what I did or anything. I was trying to do it last night. Didn't have the same magic. So apparently, what I'm learning is daughters can be ever changing within the hour. So it's just a neat process. Can't wait to get home.
Is there a history to Briella and Nicole?
No, we're just going Bret Bielema. Nicole is Jen's middle name, and then I like the name Bella. And both of us have been one-syllable names our entire life. Bret and Jen kind of plain, so we thought we'd give her some flair. But there's no naming rights to anybody or anything. We kind of came up. I threw up Gabriella, and just kind of came to it.
Coach, can you talk about Bobby Elliott? I know you had a high with your daughter, but I know that was tough.
Yeah, that was tough.
What meant to you?
Yeah, because so Bobby's been struggling for a long time with this, and it had so many times where things went south, and he came back strong. And when he got the job at Nebraska, I was just so pumped because Bobby and we know each other very well, and Elliott and Coach E and I had worked together at several different spots for many years, and then I got a call. Dan McCarney, who's a good friend and good friends with Bobby, reached out to me and was trying to gather some information. I was trying to work out a time where I could get up there to go see him. He was in hospice up at Iowa City, and then my date was kind of changing. So, but Bobby, anybody that ever met him, he's a very, very infectious personality, a high-strung, was a huge mentor to me early in my career. We were co-coordinators at Kansas State, and obviously had the number one defense in the country, and that's something I'd never accomplished, and to share those moments have been very special. And then just because of the way we work, I got very close to his wife, and he had 2 children that I was very close with, and it's never easy on something like that, but you remember all the great times more than the sad times.
Is this the calmest media day you've been to?
It's pretty calm. I like going on the front end. I said, I'm like, Of course, I got to check with Jen, but I might have a baby every year if it's this easy to see where we get things done.
Brad, did you change diapers yet?
I changed one. Well, I got one, maybe half of one. I was starting, and then the nurse kind of said, "Let me finish this out." So I let her finish it out. So I'll get more in that mode this week, I'm sure.
Brett, I wanted to ask you about the offensive line and linebackers. Last year, the numbers were down a little bit. Linebackers have kind of been an issue with numbers. How do you feel in year 5 about not just those positions, but maybe depth all the way around?
Yeah, I think depth in our program is stronger than just the roster development, get the numbers in the right places. I think I was shocked at 2 positions when I first got here. We're O-line and linebacker depth when I first arrived, and I kind of wish I was going off numbers rather than reality. I wish in my first 2 years I'd probably had signed a couple more linebackers and a couple more linemen, because that, to me, showed its surface last year, But we had more linemen going into spring ball, quality depth than we've had since I've been here. And to have 6 guys that have started SEC games and have that in our hip pocket, I think is a big deal. And linebacker, because we kind of mixed and combined some of the back-end guys forward, some of the front-end guys back, has given us a little bit more depth that I think really would have addressed it. If we were playing a 4-3, I'd be very concerned. But I think of 2 positions, the D-line position and really the quality of inside linebacker positions. So I think it's been a great move for that reason alone.
How much progress has been made on the 3-4?
Great stuff, but I learned this from Coach Fry. Coach Fry would say, go out and plow up snakes, and what he was saying was go up and, dig up some things you can't see. And I think that we did that in the spring, but you never really do that until you're battle tested, So FAMU will be a big one, TCU, just to have your pulse on what's going well and what isn't going well and how you got to adjust it.
I know it's been a while since Arkansas has been in Atlanta in the championship game, but how neat would it be to be the first team from the West to play in Mercedes-Benz?
Yeah, and I think that that's the ultimate goal. It's mine when I came here. I said I want to do something I've never done before, and obviously that's to get there and win it. But to get to Atlanta is a big deal, and I think with our guys, I think it resonates with them. Somebody's got to be there, so why not be us?
I think Malik Williams dropped like 15, 20
did.
pounds this spring. How do you think that's helped him? What do you think about a freshman being able to hone and do that?
Well, 2 things. First, his January arrival was huge. If he was 234 then, I'd hate to see what he went if he had been and waited until June. Malik's kind of a unique story. Mom worked night shift, so he was always on his own for meals and different things. And I think he was probably shocked when he first got there, and then Herb's got a hold of him, and he was really shocked what he's able to do. But I think he's down to 216. He looks great. It really changed not only his body, but his ability to move. I think Herb's and the crew are making comments, and some of our players were about just how well he's moving. And he's very, very intelligent. I think through 4 weeks of spring ball going at last week, he'd had 1 bust during a scrimmage type situation. So very talented. And I tell you what, Chase Hayden, if you ask our guys, he's probably one of the more impressive freshman athletes that are able to show up this summer and do what they do.
What are you looking for out of Malik, especially with obviously not having?
I think Malik, we're looking at a guy that can play behind his pads, a bigger back. Devwalk can be that, but I don't think it's natural to him as much as it might be to Malik. Malik's a thicker, harder. Some schools are recruiting him as a linebacker. I remember being in his high school, and they were playing a team that had like 3 or 4 guys that had signed Division I, and they were running up and down the field, and his coach threw him and a linebacker, and they had like 10 yards the rest of the game. So, I mean, he's a guy that's just got that thickness and that ability to play the game.
How important is it for Brandon Martin to be an impact on this offense?
Brandon's had a great, he had a really good spring. Both him and Jonathan Nance, I think, we've been blown away with their maturity and their ability to come in. Brandon's got 1 more year of eligibility, so he's got 3. So just his presence, his physicality, his size, he likes the game, he catches the ball. Jonathan's a really good person to go through it with him. Jonathan's kind of a little different receiver, but they got a great relationship. And then I think Austin's been really good just working with him as well.
Brett, there's a lot that you ask of your tight ends. Is it realistic to think that Jeremy Patton can come in and contribute immediately?
Again, I've been around Jeremy on a recruiting basis, but I know Bielema really felt good just in the conversations he's had with him in recruiting and sit down and visit with him. I know Austin sat down. I know he grabbed Austin that very first day and said, hey, do you have time tomorrow? And sat down one-on-one with our quarterback. I know he talked to Frank about protection. So one of the things about junior college players that love football, it's important to them. And they have a tendency to get it. They know that playbook's important. And the carryover that he had from Arizona Western to us is helping him out a little bit. But he's also just a very intelligent, very mature person that has been through. Life ain't been easy for him, man. And he's earned everything he's ever gotten, and I think it's pretty important to him.
That Henry Heave game that you won at Ole Miss a couple of years ago, how does that game stick in your memory? Is that one of the that sticks in there the most?
Hunter was in my office Friday, and he saw the picture up on the wall. He was kind of laughing about that, so it just kind of BA was there too. Him and BA came in on Thursday, I guess it was, and we were kind of just reminiscing. But, I saw it on replay the other day, and I was thinking about how it unfolded because I remember telling him on the drive, hey, we're going for it when we get this one in, we're going to go for two no matter what, and told our players that before they left the sidelines, So there was a lot that went into it, but again, just another great game in this league.
I know you talked about it in the big media room with Melvin and Monteric and their status kind of going forward.
Yeah, Melvin for sure won't be with us. Kind of made that decision after where we was at, leaving summer school, or summer one. So we got him in a situation that potentially could get him with us in January. Buster, on the flip side of it, is doing a lot of really good things, working his tail off. There's a chance he could join us here for fall camp, but if not, try to get him here by fall semester. And at worst case scenario, I think he'd start with us in January.
There's a lot of unknowns to us. You see a lot of the work, but a lot of guys are going to have to step up and contribute for your team. They haven't had a lot of experience. How confident are you in those guys? And how much fun may it be to see them kind of go?
I think that's the difference between coaching and being a fan or not being a reporter, too. You guys don't ever get to see the things that are coming. That does. And I think you're around our program a little bit more. You'll see those things, and it doesn't surprise you as much. Kind of like the whole tailback thing. I know when we lost Jonathan and Alex, everybody's like, "What's going to happen?" And then Raleigh leads the league, and Devois, pretty good as well. So I think there's things that are going to give us answers that I know are coming. That I just don't. I'm not a guy to blow up a bunch of hype. You know what I mean? I don't blow up things until they're real, and that's just my personal preference, and that probably leads to a lot more questions.
Game day atmosphere is going to be a little different this year.
Yeah, it will. I think it's going to be loud. I really do. I think that the environment to close up that far end, and then obviously when they put seats in, it's going to be a different deal. Although there's not going to be any outside seats, but I think just the pure geographical design, or whatever that is, the architect design of enclosing that end zone is going to make it pretty on time.
But coming out of the south end zone instead of the north for the team.
Well, yeah, for us 1 year, we'll take over the visiting locker room, but it's actually a really nice visiting locker room. One of the complaints I had was too nice when I got here. Some of the visiting locker rooms we see aren't so appreciative, so it'll be interesting.
Hey, Brett, so Raleigh's going to be a student coach with you?
Yeah, Raleigh's going to. He's with. I don't know. Pat, is he with the Cowboys now?
Not yet.
The next week or two, I think he's going with them. And he's doing an internship with Clayton Hamilton over at the business office. So he's really got some stuff going on. It's pretty impressive for that kid. And then when the fall comes around, I told him he could work with me. Probably still have him in the running back room. Because he's a student assistant coach, he can actually be on the field and coaching. There's some limitations of people that can actually do that, and to know that we could have him for a couple of years doing that with the young running backs, or even a guy like David Williams, it's been awesome too. The guy that was probably the biggest factor in helping us get David Williams here was Devois Whaley. And again, it's just being open. I called Devois and said, "Hey, here's the deal. This is why I'm doing this. I'd love to have you meet him." He said, "Coach, let me take him to lunch." So. It's just, again, another great indicator of our selfless players, what they know. We didn't want to be shortchanged just because of a roster, you know what I mean? And Devil has been great.
Steve Shaw told us in Destin about the new sideline demeanor, and they're going to be watching that very closely this year.
I'm not overly concerned. I understand you called it the Bielema rule earlier. I mean, I don't think the rule's for me. Obviously, I got one in the Bama game, but I knew what I was doing before I took off. I knew where I was going. I knew what I was going to say, and I knew what the repercussion was. In the bowl game, I went on the field because I made the wrong call, and they switched it, so checkmarked me, I think. But I think that the intent of the rule to keep coaches off the field is probably good in nature, especially when you start seeing some of the replay of really all conferences, all levels. If we're set the standard, we definitely got to do a better job. And what I think is going to be interesting is who's going to get that first flag, who's going to get it, when they're going to get it, and is the game going to be online, because that could be a momentum changer.
Coach, when you look at the team mentality, I mean, your players are saying they break it down every single day to SEC champs, and learning to start and finish the game the same way. I mean, what have been some of the mentality focus points from last season that you're trying to apply?
Yeah, I think twofold. First, you have to understand why things happen, which isn't always easy. You got to look at it on film. You have to analyze it as coaches. So we addressed a lot of that before the players even had a chance to be around us, in January, February, March. And then spring ball, did some things to reemphasize doing things later in practice when you're tired. We did individual drills at the end of practice rather than at the beginning. Things like ball security, things on defense like breaking on balls, tackle security. We did a bunch of stuff in the latter part of practice rather than just all on the front end. And then just a bunch of little things that are mental edges. The good news is we played really well in the first half in several of those games. We just got to remember to play the same way in the second half.